Have you ever noticed that certain numbers keep showing up in Tesla's work? 3, 6, 9, certain frequencies, certain obsessions that went way beyond what any engineer of his era should have cared about. And here's what almost nobody talks about. Tesla kept a private notebook. Not the patents, not the lab journals they put in museums, the private one. And in it, he documented something that modern physics is only now starting to catch up to, that there is a specific frequency, a measurable, reproducible vibration that doesn't just affect matter, it rewrites the experience of reality itself. Now, I know how that sounds, I get it. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Tesla called frequency the key to the universe, and more importantly, what that actually means for you and your life right now. So let's start from the beginning. Because if you only know Tesla as the guy on the $100 bill, wait, that's Franklin. Okay, Tesla's the guy who never made it onto the currency, which honestly tracks, because the whole theme of his life was doing the most important work while getting the least official credit. But here's the thing. When you actually dig into what Tesla was studying, not the alternating current stuff, not the Wardenclyffe Tower drama, but his private philosophical work, what you find is someone who was not thinking like an engineer at all. He was thinking like a mystic who happened to have a laboratory. Tesla believed, and I mean genuinely, deeply believed, that the universe was not made of matter first. He believed it was made of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that matter, the physical stuff you can touch and see, was a downstream effect of those invisible forces. Now that's not just spiritual poetry. That is actually consistent with what quantum field theory tells us today. That what we call particles are really just excitations in underlying fields. Energy patterns that take on the appearance of solidity. Tesla was intuiting that 100 years before the math caught up. And here's where his notebook gets interesting. Tesla documented his experiments with resonant frequencies, the idea that every physical system has a natural frequency at which it vibrates, and when you match that frequency from the outside, something remarkable happens. The system amplifies. It doesn't just respond, it expands. He famously said that if he could find the resonant frequency of the Earth, he could split it in two. Now, I spent 3 hours going down that rabbit hole one night, and what I found shocked me, because the math actually works. The Earth does have a resonant frequency. It's called the Schumann resonance, and it sits at approximately 7.83 Hertz. So what is the Schumann resonance? Let me break this down because it matters. The Earth's surface and its ionosphere, that electrically charged layer of atmosphere above us, form what physicists call a resonant cavity, like the body of a guitar. And just like a guitar body amplifies and shapes sound, this planetary cavity amplifies and shapes electromagnetic waves. And it does it at 7.83 Hertz. That's the Earth's heartbeat, right? That's the base frequency of the system we all live inside of. Now here's where it starts to get genuinely wild. Human brainwaves during deep meditative states, theta waves, sit in a range of roughly 4 to 8 Hertz, right on top of or right adjacent to the Schumann resonance. And researchers at HeartMath Institute have shown that when the heart and brain enter a state of coherence, meaning they're synchronized, they're working in harmony, the body produces electromagnetic output that can be measured outside the body. Your heart is not just a pump, it's a broadcasting antenna, and it operates in a frequency range that overlaps with the frequency of the planet itself. Tesla knew something about this, not in the clinical neuroscience language we'd use today, but he wrote about it. He wrote about tuning, about resonance between human consciousness and the underlying field of the universe. He believed, and I find this personally stunning, that thought itself was a form of vibration, that a sustained, focused mental state wasn't just psychological, it was physical. It was a real oscillation happening in a real field. And if that's true, if thought is frequency, then the question becomes, what frequency exactly produces the biggest effect? And that brings me to Tesla's most famous obsession, the numbers 3, 6, and 9. He was reportedly so fixated on these numbers that he would walk around a building 3 times before entering. He'd request 18 napkins at dinner, divisible by 9. His hotel room was 3327, digits that sum to 15, which reduces to 6. Now look, a lot of people will wave this off as OCD or eccentricity, and maybe some of it was. But Tesla himself said something that reframes all of it. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. That's not the statement of someone with a counting compulsion. That's the statement of someone who found a pattern. So what did he actually mean? In vortex mathematics, a system of numerology that maps the patterns underlying base 10 arithmetic, 3, 6, and 9 behave in a completely unique way. If you take any number in the doubling sequence, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and reduce each to a single digit by adding its digits together, you get a cycling pattern that never includes 3, 6, or 9. Those 3 numbers exist outside the cycle. They're not part of the loop. And in the geometry of a circle, 3, 6, and 9 are the only numbers that appear at the most fundamental division points, at 120, 240, and 360 degrees. They're structural to the geometry of the universe in a way the other numbers just aren't. Now, I personally think this is the most underrated part of Tesla's legacy. Not the electricity, not the radio, but this. The idea that there is a mathematical architecture beneath physical reality, and that certain frequencies align with that architecture in a way that others don't. Because when you start looking at what frequencies correspond to 3, 6, and 9 in the solfeggio scale, an ancient system of musical frequencies that dates back to medieval Gregorian chant, something remarkable shows up. The frequency 528 Hz reduces in its digit sum to 6. It sits inside the 369 family. And 528 Hz has been called, by researchers like Dr. Leonard Horowitz, the love frequency or the miracle tone. Why? Because studies have shown it has unusual effects on biological systems, including the ability to repair DNA, reduce cortisol, and increase cellular repair rates. Let me actually tell you what shifted my understanding of all this. A while back, probably a year or 2 into really studying this material, I started doing something that I felt genuinely embarrassed to tell anyone about at the time. I started sleeping with 528 Hz tones playing in the background, quietly, just in the room. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I woke up the next morning and my whole life was different, because that's not what happened, and I don't do that. But what I will tell you is that over about 6 weeks, something in my baseline shifted. My anxiety, which has always been a real thing for me, not a casual thing, dropped noticeably. My focus during work got sharper, and I started having what I can only describe as more coherent days, where things just seemed to connect in a way they hadn't before. Was it the frequency? Was it placebo? Was it just the habit of setting an intention before bed? I honestly don't know for certain, but I haven't stopped. Because here's what the science does support, regardless of what you believe about frequencies and consciousness. Sound entrains biology. That is not a fringe claim. That is a documented physiological fact. When you expose a biological system to a consistent external rhythm, the system will tend to synchronize with it, a phenomenon called entrainment. Your brain waves entrain to external frequencies. Your heart rate can entrain to rhythm. So the question isn't really, can frequencies affect you? The question is, which frequencies are you surrounding yourself with right now? Because you're already being entrained. You already are vibrating in response to your environment. The only variable is whether you're doing it consciously or by default. So let's take this to the next level. Because knowing that frequency matters and knowing how to actually work with it are 2 very different things. And I think this is where most people stop. They hear the idea, They find it interesting, they maybe listen to a YouTube video with a 528 Hz tone playing behind some piano music, and then they go back to their regular life. But that's not what Tesla was doing. Tesla was doing something much more intentional. Tesla's approach to frequency wasn't passive consumption. It was active generation. He wasn't just observing resonance, he was inducing it. And the distinction matters enormously. There's a difference between putting on a frequency and becoming a frequency. And what Tesla's notebooks suggest, and what the spiritual traditions that parallel this work have always said, is that the human system, the body-mind-field combination, is capable of generating coherent electromagnetic output. You're not just a receiver, you're a transmitter. So how do you become a transmitter instead of just a receiver? And let me be direct with you about what I've actually found to work, because I've gone through enough bad advice in this space to know the difference. The first thing is breath. Not mindfulness app breathing, not box breathing as a productivity hack, but actual respiratory entrainment. Slow, rhythmic, coherent breathing, typically around 5 to 6 breath cycles per minute, has been shown in clinical research to produce measurable coherence between the heart and the brain. The heart rate variability synchronizes with the breath. The electromagnetic output of the heart becomes ordered rather than chaotic. And when that happens, you shift your resonant signature. You change the frequency you're broadcasting. Distinction number 2 is the role of emotion. Because this is where Tesla and the ancient traditions and modern cardiac research all land in the same place. Emotion isn't just psychology, it's physiology. When you sustain a positive emotional state, specifically emotions like gratitude, love, and appreciation, the electromagnetic field produced by your heart actually becomes more coherent and more expansive. The HeartMath Institute has measured this. Your heart's field extends beyond your body. It can be detected several feet away, and it influences other biological systems in proximity to you. So sustained emotional states are not just feelings, they are field events. They are frequency outputs. Now, distinction number 3, and this one is the one that most people miss entirely. Intention without emotion is just thinking, and thinking without frequency is just noise. What Tesla was pointing to, and what I believe he was actually practicing, was a unified state, a specific frequency of thought sustained with genuine emotional conviction, long enough to create what we'd now call a coherent field state. He would sit in silence for hours. He would visualize with extraordinary precision and detail. He said that by the time he physically built an invention, it was already complete in his mind, including how it would wear after years of use. That level of mental specificity is not daydreaming. That is focused frequency generation. That is resonance. And here's the piece that brings it all together. The universe, at its base level, operates on resonance. Like frequencies attract, amplify, and connect. This isn't metaphor. This is the literal mechanism behind quantum entanglement. The fact that particles that have interacted remain correlated across any distance because they share a frequency relationship that distance doesn't break. So when you change your internal frequency, through breath, through emotion, through sustained focused intention, you change what you are resonant with. You change what your system is tuned to pick up and amplify. You don't create new reality, you tune into a different signal, which is exactly what Tesla meant when he said that to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of frequency. I remember sitting with that idea the first time I really let it land, not just intellectually, but actually sitting with it in my body and feeling something click that I hadn't been able to click through years of reading productivity books and mindset content. Because those approaches are all about doing more or thinking better. But this is about resonating differently. And once you get that distinction, you can't unget it. So here's what I want to leave you with. Tesla didn't just discover how to move electricity. He discovered that the universe itself is electrical, oscillating, resonant, and that human consciousness isn't a passenger in that system, it's a participant. You are not separate from the frequency of reality. You are a node in it. And the frequency you sustain in your body, in your breath, in your emotional state, in the clarity and specificity of your focused attention, determines what you are resonant with, and therefore, what shows up in your life. That's the secret in the notebook. Not a magic number, not a mystical code that only the initiated can access. A principle that reality responds to resonance, and you have more control over your resonant frequency than almost anyone has ever told you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.